Top stories right now, a tragic story in Duluth this morning. Investigators say 5 people are dead, including 2 children, in what appears to be a murder-suicide. Police say they found a woman and child shot to death inside one home and then found another woman and another child dead in a second home. They think that the suspect took his own life. We will update you just as soon as we learn more.
Welcome back to Real-Time Viral Crimes. Today, we dive into a tragic story from Duluth, Minnesota. A story that reveals the haunting consequences of untreated mental health struggles and political frustrations that spiraled into tragedy. This is the story of Anthony Nephew, a father who shocked his community with his final act. On a quiet Thursday afternoon, police were called to 2 homes in Duluth, a small city that rarely sees such horrific crimes. What they found was unimaginable. 5 lives taken.
Right underneath a little free library in Duluth, a story of heartbreak.
I can't process that they're gone.
Duluth police discovered a quadruple murder and suicide at 2 different homes on Thursday after a welfare check.
An employee with the city of Superior who was concerned about another employee who had not shown up for work, and that was outside of their character.
Around 2 in the afternoon at this home on Tacony Street, police found 47-year-old Aaron Abramson and 15-year-old Jacob Nephew dead in their home. Investigators believe 46-year-old Anthony Nephew, known as Tony, shot and killed his ex and son from that relationship.
Each of them tied to one man, 46-year-old Anthony Nephew. Anthony's family was everything to him, but behind his devotion lay a troubled mind. Anthony had struggled with mental health issues for years, and his online posts revealed a deep frustration with the world around him. This story reminds us of the invisible battles people face, and how ignoring them can lead to heartbreaking consequences. Anthony's story took a tragic turn on that fateful Thursday. Police first discovered the bodies of his ex-partner, Aaron Abramson, and their teenage son, Jacob, both victims of gun violence. Hours later, at another nearby home, they found Anthony's current wife, Catherine, and his youngest son, Oliver, also lost to gunfire. And finally, Anthony himself was found, having ended his own life. This was no ordinary crime. To the community, it was a mystery, a horrifying puzzle. But to those close to Anthony, his long battle with mental health and the haunting social media posts he shared hinted at a man who had lost his way. Anthony Nephew's social media was a cry for help. He wrote about his mental health struggles, his distrust in the world, and his fear of political and religious tensions. He shared concerns that may sound intense to some, yet familiar to others struggling with similar issues. Just a few months before this incident, he wrote, "My mental health and the world can no longer peacefully coexist." In posts over the years, he referenced feelings of fear and anger, often sharing his opposition to political figures and policies he felt were oppressive. These words might seem like typical online rants, but they would later hint at a man who felt isolated and unheard. Mental health is a struggle many face silently, and Anthony's posts were a look into a man feeling torn by invisible battles. In one chilling statement, he wrote, "For millions of Americans, a breakdown leads to suicide or homicide before suicide. Today, we reflect on what could have been different. Could better mental health support have saved this family? Could anyone have intervened in time?" This case reminds us all of the importance of supporting mental health awareness and not taking signs of struggle lightly. As we close this chapter, let's remember that mental health is not something that should be hidden or ignored. Tragedies like this one call us to take action, to be aware, to speak up, and to help when we see signs that someone might be struggling. This case of Anthony Nephew and his family stands as a heartbreaking reminder of how untreated pain can lead to unimaginable ends. Thank you for watching Real-Time Viral Crimes. We bring you these stories to keep awareness alive, to tell the untold, and to shine a light on the silent struggles people face every day. Remember to take care of yourselves and others, and always reach out if you need help.
The suspect was identified and officers set up a perimeter at his residence in the 4400 block of West 6th Street. Officers made entry into the home and located a 45-year-old female and juvenile deceased from what appears to be gunshot wounds. The suspect, a 46-year-old male, was also located deceased with what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Individuals were all known to each other. There is no present threat to the community. Names won't be released until next of kin notified. The incident remains active and ongoing. A press conference is expected to be held on this Friday with more details. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNews.tv.
At 2:08 p.m. Thursday, November 7th, Duluth Police Department was contacted by the City of Superior to do a welfare check on one of their employees. Responding officers went to the home in the 6000 block of Tacony Street and found two victims who were deceased from apparent gunshot wounds. 47-year-old Duluth resident Erin Abramson and her 15-year-old son, Duluth resident Jacob Nephew. During an interview with the reporting party, they identified a person of interest as 46-year-old Duluth resident Anthony Nephew. Nephew resided in the 4400 block of West 6th Street. Investigators set up surveillance at his residence and a short time later discovered he had a wife and child who also resided there. Due to that knowledge, exigency was established to make entry into the home for a welfare check. We made entry with the drone. Officers located 45-year-old Duluth resident Catherine Nephew Ramsland and her 7-year-old son, Duluth resident Oliver Nephew, deceased from apparent gunshot wounds. Officers also located the suspect, Anthony Nephew, who was deceased with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Anthony Nephew and Aaron Abramson were in a previous relationship and had a child in common. Anthony Nephew was married to Catherine Nephew Ramsland and had a child in common, Oliver. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family, friends, and loved ones of the 4 victims in this tragic incident. We also want to send our condolences to both the Duluth community and Superior community, as this is a senseless and tragic event. Thank you. If you have any questions, I can answer this.
Is there any sense of when it happened?
Of when it happened? We are still working through that as part of this investigation, looking at cell phone data for this event to establish a firm timeline.
Is there any sense of the motivation behind it?
We are not, but preliminarily in our investigation, we have seen a pattern of mental health issues with Anthony Nephew.
Did the two sets of victims know each other?
I can't answer that, but I would assume so, since there was a child in common between the suspect.
How are cases prosecuted if the suspect is deceased?
The cases aren't prosecuted if the suspect is deceased.
Did something was hungry
The welfare check was initiated because of an employee with the City of Superior who was concerned about another employee who had not shown up for work, and that was outside of their character.
Just to confirm, Chief, the 15-year-old Jacob Nephew, was he the son of the suspect?
He was.
Have there been police calls to either residence in recent history?
There are a couple of previous calls that we're still looking into at the 4401 address. Thank you. I appreciate you all coming out today.